everybody. I hope you guys are all doing well. We are going to look at the slope equation today. They've given us two xy points. So I'm going to call this x1, like my first x, and y1, like my first y. So here's my second point, which means I've got my x2 and y2. Okay, so I'm going to use this equation up here. And it says to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now keep in mind, I am subtracting a -2, so I do have to make sure that subtracting a negative turns into overall addition. Okay, so I end up with 1 in the numerator and 3 plus 2, so 5 in the denominator. The slope is 1/5. Okay, so let's see, the next one, I've got 2 points again. Here is my first x and my first y, my second x and my second y. So according to the equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now again, I have to subtract a negative, so overall addition there. So I get 2 minus 2 is 0. Over, and then 2 plus 1 is 3. 0 divided by 3 is 0, so the slope in this case is 0. All right, and then my next one, same equation. It's basically giving my change in y over my change in x. Like I'm subtracting all the y's in the numerator over, and then I subtract the x's in the denominator. So here's my first x and first y, x2, y2, like my second x, my second y. So according to this equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the numerator, -1 minus 4 is a -5. Denominator, 1 minus 0 is 1. And really, I don't need to leave the fraction -5 over 1. I can do -5 divided by 1 is the whole number, -5. So I simplified that down. All right, and then the last one here, same deal. I've got my first x, my first y, my second x, and my second y. I'll do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, same deal, minus a negative. It's in the numerator this time, but still minus a negative is overall addition. So I've got 5 plus 1 is 6, and 3 minus 3 is 0. Now this is very different than when I had a 0 in the numerator. Those are very different. 6 divided by 0 is actually, if you put it in your calculator, it says like error. It is undefined. So my slope in this case is undefined. So the reason we had you do all 4 of these is you could have a positive number like the first one, you could have a 0, you could have a negative number, or undefined. Okay, so let's see what that looks like on the graph. I'm going to plot these points. So at -2, 0 and 3, 1. Okay, so if I'm counting my rise over run, again, you can look at this slope as rise over run. It's your change in y over change in x. Your y's, they rise, like up and down, and the x's run. They're both in the denominator. They go like left and right. So I'm going to do my rise over run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the rise went up 1, and the run was over 5. So that would make sense how my slope for this line would be rise over run, 1 over 5. So I'm just showing you graphically how to get the same answer as the 1/5 that we got above. This would be, again, graphically a straight line. It goes on forever with a slope of 1/5. This one, if I plot these 2 points, I've got -1, 2, and the point 2, 2. Okay, so this is a totally horizontal line, and horizontal lines, yes, do have a slope of 0. So I would get the same slope if I looked at it on the graph. 0, 4, there's that 0, 4 point, 1, -1, okay. So my rise over run, again, I have to do the rise, the up and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the run was 1. Now, my rise over run is 5/1, but how did I get a negative 5/1 before? So I need to take care of this negative. And that kind of has to do with, as you read left to right, we always read left to right. This would be decreasing as I go left to right. So I should have a negative 5/1, or in other words, a negative 5 would be the simplified answer, but negative because it is decreasing from left to right. And then the last one here, undefined. I'm going to plot those points again. A 3, -1 was my first point, and 3, 5 was my last point. If I connect these with a line, this is a totally vertical line, and all of our vertical lines have a slope that is undefined. So I still got the same slope if I did it on the graph or if I use the equation, either way. So here's our little rule right here. A line with positive slope. If I'm going left to right, that would be like our first one. This has a positive 1/5, and it is left to right, it is increasing. So I would say it increases from left to right. Now, if I have a negative slope, that was like this third one has a negative slope and it is decreasing. So this decreases from left to right if you have a negative slope. If it is 0 exactly, then it's not increasing or decreasing. It's actually a totally horizontal line. And then if it is undefined, then it's a totally vertical line. It's not increasing or decreasing at all. Vertical line. All right, there you go. There's everything about slope.